Second, I just went live. What's up, Facebook?
There it is.
Thanks for tuning in. And we got to turn the volume down on our phones too.
Yeah.
Bring your worry, grief and pain, every cause you have for shame, lay it all down. Lay it all
It's a good thing to do now. You gotta
Amen.
lay it down. I mean, you don't.
Lay it all down.
You're that hustling, putting your strength in it. Okay.
Lay it all down. Lay it all down at the feet of Jesus.
Yes.
At the feet of Jesus. Carried on, but your heart was tired. Feared the worst and felt the fire. Lay it all down. Lay it
I said, I
all
guess
down.
today can't show his face. Sorry.
Filled with all those angels down.
Well, yeah, I went to something else, but I did that before I went to something else.
Okay.
Lay it all down.
Y'all go ahead and share the video. It's going to be a good show today.
Lay it all down at the feet of Jesus. At the feet of Jesus. Lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down.
Man, it's time and that song just be kicking.
Down, lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down at the feet of Jesus. At the feet of Jesus. When we've given up on better days, there are memories we can't erase. Lay it all down. Lay it all down. When we've come to fear what we can't explain, and there's nothing here that can ease the pain. Lay it all down. Lay it all down at the feet of
It's really low on the radio.
at the feet of Jesus. Lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down, lay it all down. At the feet of Jesus.
This is good karaoke right here. Wow.
If you've been walking the same old road for miles and miles.
What's up, guys? Coming up right now is The Way, where we dig in, dissect, and share the Word. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So let's knock the dust off the Bibles, crack them open, and get in the Word. What's up, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in. 99.9 for The Way every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And we're going to have we got a different kind of show tonight. It's going to be special.
Yep.
Before I introduce our guests, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors. We Marco Electrical, for all your electrical needs. Their phone number is 706-722-7341. Again, that's 706-722-7341. That's Marco Electrical. They do industrial, commercial. They do some residential. And if you're a qualified electrician and you know what you're doing and you're looking for a good company to work for, give them a call, send them a resume. Yeah. We also want to give a shout out to Pure Air. These guys, you can look them up on our website here. They're one of the few people I know that does ductwork cleaning and heating and air all together. Wow. We want to give a shout out to Fire for the Harvest Church.
Yeah,
guys, this is behind, the church is 107 Chartham Drive. Mm-hmm. That's right behind the Applebee's on Washington Road in Augusta. Mm-hmm. And they have Bethel's School of the Supernatural starting tomorrow. And this is where Brianna and Nick and Reagan and a lot of the people that are sort of in the group we run with, they've gone out to the Bethel School out in
California,
Redding, right? Redding, California. That's right. And so this is the brand new
satellite campus.
Yep. Brand
satellite
new
campus.
Brand new, starting tomorrow night. Yeah.
Good. Hey, if you want to go, you should. It's a good thing. Maybe you didn't have the chance to spend all that money and go to Cali. Yeah. But
you could do it here.
You do it here, visual. And also, they got some instructors, and you get all the credit, and your spirit will be blessed. So,
amen.
Yep.
Amen. Hey guys, we have the show's gonna be a little different tonight. But we talk a lot in the community, and in different programs, different things that people go to. There's a lot in the recovery community. A lot of us. That's where our hearts are. Our hearts are to help people, bring them back to Jesus, help them get off the drugs, get off the alcohol, and just overcome these obstacles, overcome these things. And so tonight we have a special guest, is George C. from Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, George.
Thank you for having me.
Why can't I see George's face? What's the problem? Like, what's going on in the studio today? Like, what? Yeah. Well, what kind of setup is this? Like,
because we're secret. No.
Yeah.
It's just we are an anonymous fellowship.
Yeah.
And so we ask that when speaking publicly or writing publicly that we maintain our anonymity.
Yeah.
So that we do not become handicapped.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you say become handicapped, is that there's some people that we may need to reach, or they need to reach us, that may get the idea that I'm not so sure I want to join that organization or become part of that fellowship, because I might not want people to know that I am or I have that problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm glad you're willing to do it, and not put your face out there, and whatever rules we gotta follow. As long as we're putting word out and somebody's going to get some help, I'm in. So
that's right.
Hey, it's good. Hey, I want to just give a shout out real quick to Jennifer Jones, Jesse. We got Connie Kessner. She's been out here doing ministry before. Philip Philip, what's happening? We got Tracy. We got Karen. We got Brianna watching. We got, I mean, all the friends. So listen, we appreciate y'all doing this every week, man. Amen. We got Wesley here. We appreciate y'all doing this every week, and this is why we come. You know, sometimes we get off work late, but we're on the road just trying to get here because we just believe in this, and the testimonies are always powerful, and so thank you all so much. Yeah, so man, you know, when the song was going, George, man, he was ad-libbing some things in there. I'm like, whoa, that's so good. So, I mean, you know, hey, just do what you do. If you decide to sing something, praise the Lord, you know, I'll take it.
So, well, George, tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, that you can. I don't know exactly what the rules are.
Well, you know, we don't have any rules.
Okay.
We have suggestions.
Okay.
First of all, I'm honored that you have asked me to do this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And it's not that we cannot do it; we can do it.
That's right.
Okay. It's not that we are secret. We have a committee in Alcoholics Anonymous called PICPC, which means Public Information Cooperation with the Professional Community. Okay. That means we try to reach everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
And just let me say, I am not, I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am not an authority on Alcoholics Anonymous. I do not know everything there is to know about Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
I'm simply a member in good standing of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
Good.
Let me tell you what Alcoholics Anonymous is.
Okay.
Good.
Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem, that problem being alcoholism, and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues, no fees for AA membership. We're self-supporting through our own contributions.
Okay.
AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. Yeah.
Well,
that's what we are.
Well, where can you give us a little history on where did Alcoholics Anonymous come from? What brought it on?
Well, I'll try to be as brief as possible.
Yeah.
There was a fellow by the name of Roland Hazard who was from a wealthy family in New England that had a bad alcohol problem. And his family sent him to Europe to see Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud being tied up at the time, but Sigmund Freud had an associate, and his name was Dr. Carl Jung. Dr. Carl Jung was more to the spiritual side, and Sigmund Freud was more to the pragmatic side. As a matter of fact, at the time, Sigmund Freud was probably the world's most renowned atheist at the time.
Did he do anything in mathematics, like something like that? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But anyway, he got with Carl Jung, and Carl Jung started administering to him. And what happened is Dr. Jung said, you know, this is the worst case I've ever seen. You know, and he told Roland Hazard that, you know what, you need a psychic change, you know. And he said, I can't give it to you. So what he did is he said, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. And Roland Hazard said, is there anything that I can do? And Dr. Jung said, well, there's a group that has been, you know, working with folks with problems such as yours. and they have been able to help people achieve a psychic change, and that's the Oxford Group. And so Roland moved back to the United States. He joined the Oxford Group, and he became sober. He became sober in the Oxford Group. Now, when you became sober in the Oxford Group, you were more or less mandated to go out and get a drunk and drag him in and get him sober. Okay.
Okay.
And he knew this fellow by the name of Ebby Thatcher, and he went to Ebby. They was about to 1013 Ebby, you know, because he was shooting up his house and, you know, trying to get rid of pigeons, but he was, you know, blowing up his house. You know,
he was drunk.
He was drunk.
Wow.
He was drunker than a nine-eyed mule.
Yeah.
And so
there were just holes all over the wall,
and that's
pretty much.
And Ebby and Roland and two other fellows from the Oxford Group convinced the judge to turn Ebby over to them, and they thought they could help him. And Ebby was turned over to them. Ebby got into the Oxford Group, and Ebby became sober. Now Ebby has to go out and find a drunk and get him sober.
Wow.
He knew a fella that lived in New York by the name of Bill Wilson. Bill Wilson, one of the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, and he went to Bill. When Bill was drunk, and brought the message of recovery to Bill. Okay. And Bill joined the Oxford Group in New York. He went to a stock deal in Akron that had gone south, and he needed to talk to another drunk. You know, he being in the Oxford Group, and so he got on the phone there at the Mayflower Hotel in Akron, and he finally got in touch with a Reverend Tunks, and Reverend Tunks turned him on to a lady that was in the Oxford Group by the name of Henrietta Seiberling, and she was part of the Seiberlings owned the Goodyear deal, and she talked to Bill, and she said, I know of a closet drunk that's a member of our Oxford Group. And they set up a meeting, and that was the day before Mother's Day in 1935. And Dr. Robert Holbrook Smith, agreed to go talk to Bill at the gatehouse at the Seiberling estate. Okay. And he told his wife, Ann, going out there, he said, I'm only going to give this chap 15 minutes. Okay. When he got there and she put them together, they talked for 6 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And the reason that they talked 6 hours and 15 minutes is because they spoke the language of the heart. One alcoholic talking to another, Anyway, they stayed in the Oxford Group for some time after that, and then there were some disagreements between the people in the Oxford Group in Cleveland and people in the Oxford Group from Akron. So they broke away from the Oxford Group, which incidentally is still in existence today. It's called the Initiatives of Change. Okay? And that's how Alcoholics Anonymous got started.
Wow.
And that was in the actual founding date of Alcoholics Anonymous is June the 10th, 1935. Yeah.
So this language of the heart thing, because like, when I go to like a place and guys are doing steps, you know, guys are just talking and sharing stuff and this and that, and that's kind of what you mean by the language of the heart, right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that stuff just helps somebody else when they listen to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of spiritual stuff in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we pray, we meditate. We start a meeting with the Serenity Prayer. We have the third step prayer, the seventh step prayer, the prayer of St. Francis. Anytime it says in our instruction book, Alcoholics Anonymous, it says we ask. That's a prayer. Okay.
Okay.
Working with another alcoholic, taking them through the steps, the program of the 12 steps of recovery.
Yeah.
Sharing in a meeting, doing service work. We do an awful lot of spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Taking up of the seventh tradition, which is the money, is spiritual. Saying the announcements is spiritual. Everything we do is spiritual. But the most spiritual thing that we do in Alcoholics Anonymous is one alcoholic talking to another, especially when it's about recovery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that was good.
Amen.
So like, you know, you know, when you started talking, you talked about something like when that royalty guy, the first guy, royalty name person was like alcoholic and there was nothing to do and they took him to this doctor. You could see like a medical practitioner would say like this is the worst case he's ever seen, and meaning even with his practice, he knew that like I can't do much for this fella. But then he talked about having him connect to what you say, some connect to their spirit, or
connect to a spiritual group, which was called the Oxford Group,
right,
he knew through experience that they have been able to help people to achieve a psychic change in their lives. You know, to turn themselves over to the God, you know, to the God of their understanding. You know, their will in their life.
You have people out there that like don't want to respect their spiritual side of their person, don't want to even recognize that it's there, or they ignore it or whatever. You know, they just whatever they want to do, they just make it whatever, and
it probably stems from something that's in every human, and that's fear. Okay.
Yeah.
They fear it, and so therefore they either abandon it or ignore it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, what can you? Let me ask you this: what, you know, the kind of things that would bring you to a place like this? Can you share a little bit of what you know? I don't know what, you know, what all you would like to share, but you know, what brought you to the program, or
well, yes, I will. The my journey. Well, I'll tell you what. I first came into Alcoholics Anonymous in 1978, and I was totally convinced, because of fear, selfishness, and self-centeredness, that I was not an alcoholic, even though I drank alcoholically, and even though I did stupid things when drunk. Okay, I just knew that I wasn't an alcoholic, and I told the good people of Alcoholics Anonymous that I'm only coming here to get people off my back, like, you know, my wife, my children, my mom, and my brothers and dude, and this, and the courts, and the police, and this and that and the other, you know. Right. And they told me this. They said, okay, if you don't think you are one, get on back out there and grab you a fistful of that easy. And if you don't die, come back and see us, you know. So I took their advice.
Yeah.
You know. And what happened is I
took their advice to leave and go.
I took their advice to leave and go, and that relapse lasted 9 years, and I went to the pits of hell.
Wow.
Okay. And what happened is my journey actually started when I was changing a flat tire on Interstate 45 in Houston, Texas, in the middle of the interstate.
You just pulled. That's not pull over. That's
no, I did not pull over. I just stopped.
You just stopped, pulled on.
I just stopped in the middle. And
got your tools out. And
got my tools out. Was changing the tire, and the policeman came up to assist me, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I told him I was changing a flat tire.
Yeah, like he couldn't see that.
And he goes, "Why are you changing it here?" And I said, "Because this is where it went flat."
Exactly.
And so that's when our dialogue went south, and he didn't like it, and I didn't like it that he didn't like it, and he didn't like it that I didn't like it that he didn't like it, and he took me straight to detox, which was not a detox facility.
Right.
It was the Harris County Jail, and that's where I detoxed.
Wow.
Those police that was running that jail did not care if I shook uncontrollably, They didn't care that I bled from every orifice in my body. They didn't care that I saw spiders 8 feet wide. They didn't care that I saw things coming up under the door. You see, I didn't. What was happening to me? I was experiencing something called delirium tremens, DTs, delirium tremens. And what I was experiencing was something called pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization, or deflation at depth. And what that forced me to do was to reach out to God. Wow. And here's the deal. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in God. But you know what? That didn't bother God.
Oh, man, that's good right now.
That did not bother. It did not bother him one bit. Okay.
Oh, man, that's so good.
So
oh, man, wow.
I reached out because see, here's the deal. When I was a child, I had the God of my childhood. I became terribly afraid of the God of my childhood. And so I became tired of being afraid of the God of my childhood. So therefore, I stopped believing in the God of my childhood. That ain't what made me drink liquor. Okay?
Right.
I drank liquor because I liked the effect produced by alcohol when I put it in my body.
Right.
Which is really not to feel anything.
Right.
But what it did do is it eased the guilt that I had for not believing in the God of my childhood. Okay. Now, I drank liquor because I have a twofold disease, an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body. Okay. But as a result of the grace of a loving and giving God, the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, the program of the 12 Steps of Recovery, the 12 Traditions, and the 12 Concepts of World Services, and yielding to, the total package of recovery, unity, and service, I have returned to the God of my childhood. Okay?
Wow.
And here's the deal.
And you ain't afraid of him no more.
I ain't afraid of him no more. And he's pretty happy about that. God does not want me to be afraid of him.
Amen.
No.
Yeah.
Neither does he want anybody to be afraid of him.
He loves us.
And anybody can just reach out.
Yeah, anybody.
And he will listen.
That's right. Wow. Anybody.
That's good. It's a good deal. Good to know.
So what? So tell me, after when you were in this jail cell, so you just decided in that jail cell that was it, and you never. So what happened after that?
No, I did not decide this is it. I did not say, oh, I'm never going to drink again. I did not say I'm going to get sober. I did not say I was going to join Alcoholics Anonymous. It just came as a result of me reaching out to God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came as a result of desperation. Desperation. Yeah.
I mean, you had no other choice. You knew that.
Yeah.
You didn't want to do that again.
Yeah, the cops weren't even caring about whatever he was going through. No medical, no whatever. And you figured the only thing to reach out to now is, say a prayer to God. I heard this public phrase. A lot of people say, if there's a God out there, when they get to that point or something like that.
Exactly. That's exactly what Bill Wilson said when he had his bright light experience in the Towns Hospital in New York. God, if there's a God out there, please, show yourself, help me. Wow. And he had a bright light experience and never had a drink after that. Okay.
So God did show himself.
I did not have a bright light experience. Okay.
Right.
Mine was more on the. I've had many of spiritual experiences.
Gotcha.
And and I've had spiritual awakenings.
Yeah.
But it's been more of the educational type rather than the big boom.
Yeah.
I had to seek it. Okay. Some folks don't.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens. Bill Wilson, boom, it came to him, and he was our messenger. Okay, God bestowed that upon him to help other alcoholics.
Wow.
So when so now Alcoholics Anonymous, is it strictly for alcoholics?
There are people that look. Our third tradition says the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking.
Okay.
So that means you got to be a drinker in order to have a desire to stop.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You probably have to be in the throes of alcoholism in order to want to stop drinking. Okay.
Right,
Is a
right,
desire to stop drinking.
Right.
We have an awful lot of people that come into the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous that are dual addicted. Okay.
Okay.
Dual addicted to drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
You know, in the world that we live in today, you probably would have a hard time finding someone that is a pure alcoholic.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd probably have a hard time finding someone that's a pure drug addict. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have dual addicted people that come into Alcoholics. There are other 12-step programs for people that do other substances that do cocaine or opiates or that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 12-step programs that got their ideas from the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of, listen, Bill Wilson took drugs. Okay. Dr. Bob took drugs. There's a fellow that wrote a story in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous called Dr. Paul O. He was more of a drug addict than he was an alcoholic, but he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Okay. He was both.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do not deny anyone membership of Alcoholics Anonymous if they have the desire to stop drinking. That's the only requirement. That's the only one.
This big book, is it like a living book? I.e., like every year is it like, living means they're adding stories or adding stuff, or is this something that is already done, put away?
The first edition of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous
is it like a big? I mean, is this it?
No, this is it here.
Okay.
But it used to be bigger than this. Okay.
Oh,
That's a smaller version of
That's a smaller version.
oh, okay.
The first, the first edition of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 1 included the doctor's opinion, and so it went further than the first 164 pages. In the second edition, they gave the doctor's opinion Roman numerals. Okay. And page 1 started with Bill's story. Okay. And so in the second, third, and fourth edition of the book, the instructions on how to become sober,
Right.
and how to live life on life's terms, okay, is in the first 164 pages. The stories, to answer your question, the stories in the back of the book, every edition since the first edition, they have taken some out and added some.
Oh, okay.
But they haven't taken them all out and added some in each edition. They've taken some out, but they've taken the ones that the ones that they have taken out of both the first, second, third editions and put it in a book called Experience, Strength, and Hope, so that we don't lose those stories.
Okay.
Now, what exactly, when you say the stories, what exactly do you mean by
It's stories of alcoholics that share their experience, strength, and hope in a written form.
Okay. So you mean kind of like what they were like, the stuff they struggled with,
Exactly.
and how they.
And what they did to become sober.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, let's give him the number. That way, if somebody wants to,
Yeah.
question, or we have
Yeah, the phone number, guys.
You know.
Yeah, the lines are open, and you know what? This is if you have any questions or comments
something to add,
or something to add, call us 803-335-3131. That's again the number here is 803 335 3131.
Yeah.
And so, all right. So tell me a little bit about. Okay, somebody. So you got some. You know, I know we talked. You know, I know that a lot of times people are sent to these programs by the courts.
Exactly.
So obviously they don't come in there on a winning streak. Most people that come in these rooms, something bad's been happening to them.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't wake up and say, "Wow, I feel so good. I think I'm gonna go to Alcoholics Anonymous."
Yeah.
It's probably because whoa, something ain't right.
Something's not right.
Something not right, and I'm gonna go to it. Yeah, I have mixed emotions about the courts and or probation. Of course, they can do what they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But
But a lot of times you think those people don't really want the help, huh?
they may not. However, they come and a seed is planted. Whether they know it or not, a seed is planted.
Yep.
And they may not stay. They may go out and they may experience some other bad things, but they know where to go.
Yeah.
To get back to living right. Yeah. Yeah. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion.
Okay.
We need to always maintain, personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films, and so when people are sent to us by the courts, okay, as a courtesy, we try very hard to accommodate them.
Yeah. All right, we got a caller. Let's see what's happening here.
Thank you for calling 99.9 The Way. You're on the air. Hello. Hello. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, Chief Adondo. This is Sister Lisa.
What's happening? What's happening, Lisa? How you doing?
I'm good. I just happened to catch you guys' program.
Okay.
And I want to chime in a little bit because I was in the recovery community
Oh.
for many years as an addictions counselor.
Yeah.
And from a Christian-based program.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to chime in
Okay.
and say that I'm glad that you guys are covering the topic
Okay.
from a Christian-based perspective,
Okay.
and that, yes, there is both a physical and spiritual component to addiction, as you were talking about,
Yeah.
because something does happen to your brain chemistry, but there's also a spiritual awakening component to that.
Okay.
So with that, I wanted to just express the part about the spiritual component to that.
Okay.
And I think, like your guest speaker was saying,
Yeah.
you just, when God really gets a hold of you when you're in that addiction,
Yeah.
you don't really know that it's happening to you. He catches you. He catches you in the fall.
Yeah.
And the other component to that
So
is
let her
that
call her.
addiction is
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah. Hello, Lisa.
Uh-oh. Hello.
You a loser?
I think I accidentally tried to.
That's someone else.
Hello,
Oh,
Lisa.
my
You still
God.
there? I don't know
Hello?
what's going on.
We're so sorry.
I don't know.
Oh Lord. Hello. I think I can hear her. Hello.
Lisa, if you're listening, please call back. I apologize. I was trying to hang up the other call.
I'm trying to do too many things at one time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man,
no.
she was, she had some things to say there, and yeah, she said she's been in the program for years, and that's the kind of thing we like to hear, different views and see what somebody's thinking. And like, I'm not an author on this topic at all, I don't know. I know guys that have been through this, and I know you know, people have been successful and stuff. So, you know, it's brand new to me listening to a lot of these things today. There you go.
Thanks for calling 99.9.
Oh, so I'm back.
Okay, good. Sorry. I was trying to hang up the call that was calling and I hung up on you. I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, no problem. You know, technology, I know how that is.
Yeah, and this one is old too, yeah.
I wanted to say that, especially for our military members, Reboot Combat Recovery is a Christian-based program that deals with all the addictions. And so that is a program that I was part of. It's based in some of your churches in Augusta. And the biggest thing is, I think, to remember in recovery is that, yes, there's a spiritual awakening, and that individual has an experience with the Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. But the family can also have a spiritual awakening because addiction is a family dynamic disease.
Exactly.
And I think that you generational also too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're talking about this topic and knowing that there is help and support in recovery and being accountable, you know, having a sponsor, but having a Christian-based sponsor is even better.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're talking about this topic tonight because it is, you know, addiction doesn't discriminate.
Oh, yeah,
It could be anyone at any time with any kind of addiction, which could stem from gambling to sex to codependency, and there's even love addiction out there. So I just wanted to chime in and say great job in bringing up this topic tonight because a lot of times in the Christian community we might tend to shy away from it, but there are programs available that are Christian-based, and we know that, you know, God can do all things.
Amen.
For us if we just believe and we have faith and we call His name. All we have to do is God help us. I think you said it, Chief. You just said, just say the word Jesus, you know, Jesus help me. And He will come when you call Him.
That's good.
I know He definitely will come when you call upon Him.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to say thank you for talking about this topic tonight.
Yeah.
And it's a topic that needs to be talked about. And
Yeah.
so there is help and there is success in the recovery community.
So good.
And you gentlemen have a good night.
All
God
right.
Thank
bless.
you. You always a blessing on the radio. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
God bless you.
God bless.
All right, George, what you think? Hearing all that, what you got to say?
I agree with her 100%.
Okay.
Look, if I were to say that Alcoholics Anonymous is the only way, that would be mighty vain of me, wouldn't it? And you see, vainness is what I'm trying to get away from.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not good because that stuff makes you park in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's right.
Change your tire. That's just,
If I was to say, well, Alcoholics Anonymous is the only place that you can get sober, that would be wrong. Okay. There are many, many ways to become sober, and Alcoholics Anonymous is just one of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous is, look, here's the deal. God got me to Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous got me to God. Okay, that's the deal. And here's another deal. Alcoholics Anonymous is not my whole life.
Yeah.
It ain't my whole life, but it has made my life whole.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for me to say, oh, there's no other way, that would be wrong.
Yeah.
That would be wrong with me. Yeah. And I'm trying to get away from my wrongs. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I know that you know, we've had different people on the show, and you know, everybody's got different opinions on things, which is okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I've heard some people say some people are completely against these type of programs because I've heard somebody say that they were more into what were the words that they used? Purity. They thought that you know, they were like, well, and I've heard this from a lot of people. Well, there's a lot of cussing and people sleeping with each other and all this stuff goes on at AA and don't talk about God. They say you can a higher power and all this stuff and you know, I hear that a lot of negative things about Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah, and some of that stuff happens in churches.
Oh,
Okay, so
Some of that stuff happens.
yeah, that's right.
Some of that stuff happens in religion.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I guess that stuff can happen anywhere, huh?
Yeah.
it can happen anywhere. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So people got to stop being all this self-righteous and
Yeah.
want to already have, you know, if you're already whole, you don't need a doctor.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, that's right. Look,
I mean, Jesus said, I didn't say that. You know, I ain't smart enough to say all that. I mean,
It's in this one right here, guys.
I mean,
did,
if you're already good, well, you know, why you need? I didn't say it.
Thank you for calling 99.9. You're on the air. Hello.
Mike.
Yes.
Mike,
Hey.
Yeah.
Paul and Jesse show.
Hey.
What's up? This guy's man.
Hey, Sadie is also present.
Oh yeah, your daughter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got a question for George.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Go.
right. We listen to A.W. Tozer a lot at work. Read the book, this and that, and he's from Akron, and
Wow.
Dr. Bob's from Akron.
Yeah.
And there's no speaking of the connection between those two,
Okay.
but it seems like there's either got to be, or else it's just the Holy Spirit using the same voice.
Wow.
But truly, like, it seems like Dr. Bob was either deeply influenced or involved with A.W. Tozer. And we were just wondering if George knew something about that.
I do not. I do not. But it's probably the Holy Spirit speaking through both men. Dr. Bob died in 1950, shortly after the first International Convention of Alcoholics Anonymous in Cleveland. So I do not know if he had any kind of association with him at all. I don't know.
George, you know who A.W. Tozer is?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
I don't
The time
know.
frame matches up.
Huh?
Like, they would have been doing their thing at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will listen. I will tell you this. A lot of there's a huge misconception about the founding of Alcoholics Anonymous and where they got their ideas and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of folks will tell you that Alcoholics Anonymous and religion have nothing in common. That's not true. Alcoholics Anonymous and religion have a lot in common, you know, especially if you think about the Oxford group, right?
Yeah.
And these are the books that Bill Wilson and some other folks in the first 100 of Alcoholics Anonymous used and referenced to write the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. They used the Bible, the book of James,
Okay.
Matthew 5, 6, and 7,
Okay.
1 Corinthians 13,
Wow.
Yeah.
As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, In His Steps by Charles M. Sheldon, The Greatest Thing in the World by Henry Drummond, The Common Sense of Drinking by Richard Peabody, The Varieties of Religious Experiences by William James, I Was a Pagan by V.C. Kitchen, Twice Born Men by Harold Begbie, When a Man Listens, Cecil Rose, The Confessions of St. Augustine, and that would be St. Augustine,
Right.
The Sermon on the Mount by Emmett Fox,
Okay.
and This Believing World by Lewis Brown. All of these men that wrote these books that Bill and Bob and the other 78 referenced to write the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous were religious men. Okay?
Wow.
And here's another deal. There's thousands thousands of meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous all over the world. But just here in the United States and Canada, 90% of all the meetings that are held in these two countries are held in churches.
Wow.
So don't tell me that Alcoholics Anonymous and religion don't have anything in common. They do. We're not associated with a religion, and the religion is not associated with us.
Yeah,
okay.
right, yep.
Right.
And we do not shy away from religion, and we do not tell people don't go to religion. You know, we encourage people to have the religion of their choice. You know, the God of their understanding.
Yeah.
Amen. Well, guys, you got any other questions for our guests, guys?
No, I think that's it.
All right, man. Well, thank y'all for calling. We love you guys.
Love you too.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
Wow,
guys.
that's awesome, man. You know,
Yeah.
people get caught up on little things, and you know,
They major on the minors.
they
huh?
made it on the minor things and forget about the big rocks. There are big rocks that you need to put in your basket, you know, but then you all worried about the little pebbles and the sand and the little this and this and that, and you miss out the whole thing, you know. I love Jesus, man. Like, you
Yeah.
know, the thing with him is this man didn't have the problems that we have today.
Yeah.
He didn't have people's problems.
Yep.
He hung out with people, all kinds of people, all classes of people, and it didn't change him. He actually attracted the law of attraction, or attraction. What word did he use?
Attraction,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, there you go. He actually like influenced his audience, or at least, you know, every so often, and then let them influence him. And that way, that's why, like, what he represented is like living forever in the whole world today.
That's right.
And so, you know, people come out today in the 21st century and want to rewrite these things, and I'm like, if you was going to be that good, God would have used you and not his son. I mean, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't come to save the righteous.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, God knows all things, all right? He knew in the 21st century there's going to be this guy, and that this guy's going to think they're smart. And if God thought that they're going to be that good and they can save the world, he wouldn't put his son up. He would just kind of wait for you, so that he will use you because you're doggone smart. But he weighed the balances and you didn't fit.
Yeah.
So take what he's done and keep it moving. What's up, man? You got something there?
But you know, I went to the central office of Alcoholics Anonymous today,
Right.
Okay.
which was to get some literature because I wanted to look up. Some stuff. So I went by there and bought some literature today,
Okay.
just so I could kind of get, try to get a little information before our guest came on today.
Yeah.
And the central office was at 113 Camilla Avenue.
Camilla.
113 Camilla Avenue, and that's, I guess, Augusta. Or is that Martinez or Augusta?
It's
Behind the
it's-
Bobby
it-
Jones Walmart.
It's right on the line of Augusta and Martinez,
Okay.
or Columbia, Richmond County. It's behind Walmart that's on Bobby Jones.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So, and they have and I got some information there, and they said that there's meetings at this place at 8 a.m., at noon, at 6 p.m., and at 8:30 p.m. 7 days a week. So these people can go there to get help, and and then I got these. I went in there and got some books, and I got this one that says Alcoholics Anonymous Comes of Age. Because I wanted to just kind of look up some history, and just in the in the thing I read on the back here, because I'm trying to, I wanted to educate myself as much as possible, kind of where this came from, and it was saying that some of the 5 early friends of AA was Dr. Harry Tiebout, a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Dr. W.W. Baer from the American Medical Association, and this Jesuit Father Ed Dowling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that Jesuit means Jesus, right?
Jesus, Jesuit, Jesus,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, just making
So
sure.
they were a group, right? The Jesuit were like a group of guys that like were sworn to something about God and
It's an order of priests, the priestly order of the Jesuits in the Catholic religion.
Okay.
Just like the priestly order of the San Franciscans
Okay.
in Alcoholics. There's a lot of them in the Catholic religion.
And then we had the Episcopal priest, Dr. Samuel Shoemaker,
Mm-hmm.
it said these two men helped shape AA's spiritual principles.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
So AA got spiritual principles.
What?
spiritual
Yeah.
principles. So
Let me touch on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
okay.
Our literature tells us that AA's 12 steps, 12, that's a good number.
Yeah.
Kind of like the 12 disciples, huh?
That's a really good number. AA's 12 steps
Right.
are a group of principles, spiritual
Yeah.
in their nature,
Yeah.
which, if practiced as a way of life,
Yeah.
can expel the obsession to drink and enable the sufferer to become happily and usefully whole.
Wow.
Okay. Now, a lot of folks think, well, you know, when Bill wrote these 12 steps, he put these spiritual principles behind these steps. Well, they're spiritual in their nature, but the Reverend Ed Dowling, who became Bill's spiritual advisor,
Okay.
and the Reverend Sam Shoemaker, who was running the Oxford group in New York that Bill was a member of,
Okay.
told Bill this: Bill, when you practice these 12 steps, these 12 principles, here are the spiritual principles that you are evoking, okay?
Nice.
Which is honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity,
Yeah.
all the way through.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Talk about if you do these things, your life will be happily, all that stuff. Do you from being in the middle of the road trying to change a tire to was that happy, or after doing these things where you at? How did you?
Well, yeah, let me here's the deal.
Yeah.
We are not a glum lot. We're not. Okay. If we were glum, I probably wouldn't be a member. Okay. And it says that we absolutely, this is in the literature,
Right.
we absolutely insist on enjoying life. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it says, we are sure, not maybe, not probably,
Yeah.
we're sure that God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. And if I wasn't that, I probably wouldn't be a member. If that stuff didn't come together, look, there's no way you could have held a gun against me, right? And asked me to write down the things that has happened to me since I've been sober, right? And I maybe could have written a paragraph, okay? It is beyond my wildest dreams.
Wow.
Beyond my wildest dreams.
Wow.
To do these things, to clean house, trust God, and help others. Okay? That's the deal.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of things in Alcoholics Anonymous, and the things I have experienced in Alcoholics Anonymous has not always been, pleasant. There's been some very unpleasant things that have happened to me. Okay, but and the things that were unpleasant that happened to me is that if I had not been a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, I would probably have drank and done other things. But because of Alcoholics Anonymous, the program of the 12 Steps of Recovery, it helped me to get through those things. To get through those things and not to use them as an excuse to drink liquor or to do other things. Okay, I've done some amazing things since I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous. Amazing things. Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, we're about out of time. We're not going anywhere on Facebook because we're not quite done. So, guys, on Facebook, stay with us.
Right.
But if you're listening on the air, you can tune in to The Way 99.9 on Facebook to catch the end of this show. Or after about an hour or so, you can look it up on YouTube.
Right.
And you go to YouTube and you type in The Way 99.9 Show 34.
Yeah.
Or just type in The Way 99.9 and look it up, and it'll come up. And but guys, if you're listening over the air, we love you guys. Have a good week. We'll see you again here next week at 7 o'clock on WCC 99.9. Facebook, hold on.
We've all run things we know just ain't right. And there's a better life. There's a better life.
There is a better life.
You got pain. He's a pain taker.
Yes, he is.
If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom and saving, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, oh, he's a chain breaker.
All right, guys. Thanks, Facebook. Thanks for staying with us. Yeah. I like that. That's the prescription there, isn't it? Oh, man. I know what I used to do with prescription things. Facebook. Listen, guys. Thanks for staying with us, man. I know I got a few more questions. And look, if anybody out there on Facebook, the lines are still open. You can still call in. The number is 803-335-3131. Again, the number's 803-335-3131. And, George, I'm just curious. We've talked about these 12 steps, and I've read a little bit about them today as I got this literature and kind of digging into some of these things.
Yeah. You marked that thing up, bro.
And I did. Well, you know.
That's good studying right there.
I started, you know, I just
let me show the. Yeah. Y'all see that stuff all marked up. You give him a test on this pages, he gonna pass.
Well, you might as well mark it all because it all means something.
Well, you know, I started reading through the 12 steps, and you know, as I came to, I started looking through the steps. So let me just, I'm gonna find, where's this page at? I found where these steps are, and I just wanted to tell everybody what these steps are.
Yeah.
The 12 steps. Number 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable.
Mm-hmm.
So 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. That power's capitalized. I'm assuming that would be
That'd be a big P.
That'd be a big P.
Big P, yeah.
Number 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him, that's a capital H, that would be meaning God, because I think he's the only one that can do this. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his, capital H, his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, now this one was kind of, this one really caught my attention here. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result. So that's the only result of these steps. We tried to carry the message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
All of our affairs. All of them.
Yeah.
So somebody had a question there about what about those ninth step promises?
Ninth step promises. Nope. I know what they're talking about. I found that in this book here.
Yeah.
On page 83. I highlighted that.
Yeah. What is that about?
It's the ninth step promises, and what I was reading is here. It's the steps we just read.
Okay.
It says, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development,
That phase being the ninth step.
being when they're on the ninth step,
When they're on the ninth step. If you're painstaking about that phase of your recovery, that phase being what? Making amends to those you have harmed.
when you became willing to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, if you're painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness, which we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. There's only one peace, John, by the Prince of Peace. Just throwing that in there. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others.
Yeah.
That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear.
Yeah.
We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it sounds like there's work to do in this program.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the deal. If I'm experiencing pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization or deflation at depth to the point that I want to kill myself, right?
Right.
And I stop drinking, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't do anything about that except stop drinking, then I'm still experiencing pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization or deflation at depth to the point I want to kill myself, okay? Yeah. It's only when I apply the spiritual principles, the spiritual principle of the 12 steps of recovery, that I get out of that mess, okay? Right? And learn to live life on life terms. Yeah. I will say something about the promises.
Yeah, because
there's actually more than 12 that Mike just read. Okay.
Okay.
Bill Wilson was a great wordsmith, okay, and a great visionary. And he just happened to use the word of these extravagant promises. Okay. He could have said, "Are these extravagant proposals?" Or he could have said, "Are these extravagant expectations?" Or he could have said, "Are these extravagant propositions?" You know. And so in today's a world, someone would probably say, if he had used those other words, "Well, somebody read the proposals, please." You know. But he used the word promises. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, in the first 164 pages, okay, anytime it says "you will," or
promise.
"we will," it is a promise.
It's a promise, yeah.
There are 238 promises in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, not just those ones found on page 83 and 84.
And our society used to have a lot of respect on, if you say this is what you're going to do, that stuff used to be a handshake and it's done, right? The contract is sealed, right? Today, that stuff is not really, people say something, but yeah, they change their mind or whatever. So I could see why the word promise that. But, you know, as you was reading that stuff, there's something I wanted to say. I never was a guy that will always say I'm sorry. I mean, that stuff I never said. I never said I'm sorry. Like I never said I'm sorry for a very long time because I always felt like I was right. No, this is for real, man. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I didn't do nothing. You know, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, I don't have to say I'm sorry for you to think I am sorry. You know, I will back myself up with all kinds of other things. You know, like, why should I? Come on. Why should I go say I mean, like, that's too humiliating, and that's like, they can understand. You know, I'm gonna just buy something or I'm gonna say something nice, but I don't have to say I'm sorry.
So let's just let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, like, you know,
bygones be. Let's just bury the hatchet. Just bury the hatchet.
I'm telling you, man. Like when I busted myself into like just taking myself down and being like, you know, I can say I'm sorry, and man, that stuff felt good. Like I didn't need to defend nothing. Because I'm already accepting that I'm not good or I'm not that much of whatever. And so, like, I could just walk. I don't have to carry any image of myself in any kind of way because there ain't nothing I'm trying to defend or prove nothing. And if I feel like I did something bad, then I'm going to say I'm sorry. Yeah. And, man, I started saying that, you know, that it got me better relationship with my wife, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's a good thing to say.
Happy wife, happy life.
You know, just, you know, I'm sorry, you know, and you know, my mom, my dad, you know, you know, people that like I don't remember saying I'm sorry to my mom for a long time. I'm not sorry. You know, sorry for what? Like and you was reading that there's something in there that talks about like taking you down or considering yourself a little lower or something. And man, I was like, man, so making amends with people. I mean, if you sometimes you genuinely say you're sorry, even if you knew you didn't do something. But whatever you did has thrown somebody into a different state of experience, right? And you're sorry for doing so much good that they're now in a bad place. So you still got to be sorry about that.
Yeah. You know, and Jesus talks about that in Scripture. He says if anybody has anything against you, you got to leave whatever you got at the altar. You got to go make it right. Then you can come back and get before God, right? So, I mean, you know, and then as I was looking at what you've gotten over here, you know, the fourth step that Alcoholics Anonymous has, it's they're going through the back of things. It reminds me of the book of James. Confess your faults one to another so that you can be healed. And it said that you take these things and then you pray and you take it to the throne of God.
That's exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And you know, another thing that really got me to really catch on with I'm sorry too. This one was really big. Man. I love to know that I'm forgiven. That's big for me because I know where my feet have been, where my mouth has been, where my hands have been, where my just me has been, right? I know. And you know, I know that, right? And I needed to be forgiven. There ain't no joke. And he talks about, you know, forgive them their trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So that line of prayer right there really brought me to a point where, listen, I know I need to be forgiven, right? And so I was like, okay, I gotta forgive. I gotta forgive somebody. I gotta genuinely let them know that like I'm cool about whatever they did or whatever, you know, and because I need me some forgiveness. And so that helped me a lot. Yeah.
It's interesting that you said that about receiving forgiveness.
Yeah.
And when we are encountered with our house cleaning steps.
Yeah. Oh.
Our house cleaning steps and the cleaning up the wreckage of our past steps, okay?
Yeah.
It is really, really important that me, when I'm doing these steps, that I do it in the spirit of forgiveness. If I do not do it in the spirit of forgiveness, then it doesn't mean anything. Okay, I have to forgive. I have to forgive in order to receive forgiveness. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I looked on down here on the rest of what I had highlighted here.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get a trying to understand everything.
Yeah.
You know, so it looked like 1, 2, and 3 was kind of like coming to God.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah, 1, 2, and 3. I can, he can't. I think I'll let him.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. And then
steps one and 2 are steps of reflection.
Okay.
I believe that I am. That I now believe that I am admitting that I'm an alcoholic and that I'm powerless.
That I need God.
I'm powerless over alcohol. And then step 2, which is another step of reflection, is that I can't do this by myself. I need to believe in a power greater than myself to help me with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And steps 3 is so the first 2 steps are steps of reflection.
Okay.
The third step is made a decision to turn our will in our lives. That is my thinking and my action. Our will and our lives, my thinking and my action, over to the care of God as I understand him. That's the first affirmative action step.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the first affirmative action step. It's where I actually do something.
It's the first one.
It's the first affirmative action step. Okay. And what it is making the decision, right? And the second part is, actually taking the step with another human being and reciting the third step prayer. But if I make the decision to do that, then, and it's the first affirmative action step, then how do I actually do my decision? I do my decision by doing the rest of the steps. So if the third step is the first affirmative action step, and it is, and the literature tells us that, then that means there are other affirmative action steps.
Yeah.
So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are affirmative action steps.
Wow. 10, when I read down to 10 looked like it said you continue to take personal inventory. And so basically it looked to me like 10 you just continue to do.
10 you continue to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Look.
Every day.
Look. 4. Step 10 says what? Continued to take personal inventory.
Okay.
And when we were wrong, promptly admitted it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's think about that for a minute. Is 4 personal? Well, yeah.
Okay.
Is 6 personal? Well, yeah. Is 8 personal? Well, yeah. So 4, 6, and 8 are personal inventories. And 5, 7, and 9, right, is where we ask God to help us to make reparations on those offenses. Okay. You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So continue to take personal inventory, and we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Right?
Yeah.
I might be harboring a resentment.
Okay.
I might be just terribly afraid of something, okay? Or I might be thinking about a sexual conduct, okay? Or I might be thinking about doing harm to someone. And that's in step 4. And in 5, what do? I admit to God, to myself, to another human being, the exact nature of my wrongs, okay?
Yeah.
And then in 6, right? In 6, I take inventory, of what? My liabilities, my character defects, right? Pushed up by selfishness, self-centeredness, and 1,000 forms of fear. My pride, greed, lust, anger, gluttony, envy, sloth, okay? And I might be saying, I might want to do one of these things here, either consciously or subconsciously, right? So I ask, I ask God to help me get rid of those things.
Okay.
In step step 8, you know, I might be wanting to hurt somebody or have hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is after I've taken the steps, right? I'm a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do? I take inventory with it. And then I promptly admit to the person that I want to harm or have harmed, you know, my wrongs.
Yeah.
And that I, you know, am deeply concerned about it. What can I do to make it up? So, you know, continue to take personal inventory. All of those things just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And when we were wrong, promptly admit it. Admitted to who? Well, let me think. To God, to myself, and to another human being.
That would be good.
And now, step 11, it starts, you know, it's saying that what I saw in here is, you know, it's talking about a miracle, talking about the miracles in here, and it's talking about the spirit, the growing spiritually. And then it talks, you know, step 11 says, talks about prayer and meditation. Talks about how, you know, I saw how I can best serve thee, talking to God, thy will, not mine, be done.
Right.
It just talks about every day trying to carry out your day doing only God's will.
Yeah. Thy will, not mine, be done. Please help me, Father, to have the knowledge of your will for me. Please help me this day, Father, to have the knowledge of your will for me and the power to carry that out. Yeah.
And it said you must continue to grow spiritually.
Continue. If I don't, I'm going to get drunk.
Yeah.
If I do not.
Okay.
Yeah. Look.
So you have to keep digging in this thing.
Exactly. You know,
you
don't let up.
Continue. So to whom much is given, much is required.
Exactly.
What's up with this question about, ask them about the tallest trees? Ask GC about, that's you. Ask you about the tallest trees? What is that?
Well, yeah, there was, when I, after I got out of that horrible jailhouse, that horrible jailhouse in Houston. And see, I was only staying there for 39 days to be transported to the Walls unit in Huntsville, Texas, to serve out a 5-year stint for being an habitual violator. Okay, but because of that prayer,
wow,
you know,
something
happened. Yes, and so I was let out of that place, and I went to a place, an alcoholic rehabilitation treatment center. Okay, it's in Georgia here.
Okay.
And I remember being there that first day, and I was still experiencing pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization, or deflation at depth.
Yeah.
And I was shaking.
DAT.
Yeah. Yeah. And this eye here,
right,
looked out of this hole. And this eye here looked out of this hole. And I was sitting at a table with some other folks, and they had come in, and they were members of Alcoholics Anonymous, and they was having a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous in this treatment center that I was now a member of.
Right.
Okay. And I was sitting at that table, and I was shaking, and I was crying, and I was snotting.
Not feeling too good, huh?
Not doing good. Had a big pile of snot in front of me.
Wow. Yeah.
I could hear those people talking. Had no idea what they were saying.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there was a woman that was sitting across from me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if she had pity on me or, you know, I don't know.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to get in a fight with her, but she took her hand and she slammed it on the table, right? She slammed it. Bam! And she screamed my name. She said, George! And I looked at her and I went, that was rude. I'm suffering. And you're hollering at me. I'm suffering. Well, she was trying to get my attention because she cared. she was trying to get my attention because she knew that if she employed some tough love on me, that it might take root. Okay.
Okay.
And she said this. She said, "George, the tallest trees grow in the valley." Had no idea what she meant by that. Then or now.
Oh.
and that was 31 years ago. Here's the point. She got my attention and she said this. She said, "George, if you keep coming back, you will see amazing things and be a part of amazing things." She said, "If you keep coming back, you will see miracles and be a part of miracles. If you keep coming back and meet the conditions." You see, here's the deal. The love that you find in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, just like the love that you find in the rooms of the churches around the world, okay, is unconditional. It is unconditional. But sobriety is conditional. And you have to meet those conditions in order to become sober. Okay.
Yeah.
So she didn't lie to me. She told me the absolute truth, you know.
That's good.
And she told me about them dadgum trees in that valley because she wanted to get my attention.
So you think she just said something out of the blue just because, you know, to get
No,
you?
because I have done some research on it, and I have found that the tallest trees do grow in the valley.
Well, let me ask you this. The other thing I heard that I didn't find in the front of that book, I found it in some of the stories in the back of the book, was about sponsorship, which sort of reminded me of discipleship.
Exactly.
Did you get a sponsor when you first came in to that rehab?
You know what they here's what they suggested.
Okay.
They suggested, they said, get you a sponsor from one of these groups that come into this building to hold meetings. Get you a sponsor. And then they said, if you don't get a sponsor, we're going to get you one. And I kept saying, yeah, I'm going to get one. Yeah. And I didn't.
Right.
And so one day after the noon meeting, someone tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around, and there was a huge bear of a man. And he said something like, "I'm gonna be your sponsor." And I went, "Oh Lord." Gone, I should have did what they told me to have did. And I went, "Yes, sir." Yes, sir. And his name was Po' Boy. And he had spent 31 straight years in the penal system of Georgia. 31 straight. No, not getting out and going back and getting out and going. He spent 31 straight years in the penal system. He held Reedsville at bay one time. Hostage.
That's a big prison.
Yeah. And when he told me that day that he was going to be my sponsor, he had something like 20 years of sobriety. He was a circuit speaker, and he spoke all over the world. And he was tough, and he exhibited tough love. But he did it because he loved. Okay? Freely he had been given, freely he had to give back. Yeah. That's what
hey, that question actually came from Laura D. She says she's in Santa Fe now. I don't know.
Laura D. Yeah. Laura D. I know Laura D. She's Laura D. She's in Santa Fe. Yes. Yeah. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yes. Okay. I know her children also.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right, Laura D. You know, you didn't get to see the face, but you got to hear the voice. He said he know who you is, and went ahead to say Santa Fe, Mexico, or something like that.
New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico.
Oh man.
Appreciate you joining the show, Laura D.
So if you know you're an alcoholic, if you have these things, so there is hope, you know, because I know some people have I know sometimes you hear, man, if they would just go to church, but I know there's a lot of people that did go to church and they just, and it didn't work for them, and I know that, I know that a lot of people have given up on themselves because, they've gone and they've tried and they haven't seemed to be able to do it. So it sounds like there's hope.
Yeah. And look, we are there's no doubt, a spiritual fellowship, a spiritual organization. But who better would be to help one another than people that have the same common problem?
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like when Jesus tells the man,
come to me
with the plank in his eye.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember, he says, first, go get it out of your eye, so that you in turn can go help other people get the one out of their eye.
Right. Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Mm-hmm.
Hey, just in the same line, Laura D says you was instrumental in her life and hundreds of people across the CSRS. So thank you, George.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for saying that. Yes.
Yeah. And so, so now that you have, I guess you've been sober for quite a while now.
31 years.
31 years.
Wow.
31 years. Cool. Amen.
And
since you have, are there things that you've done since you've been sober and you've living doing God's will now? Are there things that you've done that you weren't able to do before?
I'm glad that you asked that question. And here's the deal. There's always a deal.
Yeah. Yep.
I said we're not a glum lot. We absolutely insist on enjoying life. And we're sure that God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. And if it were not for those things, I wouldn't be a member of this organization. Okay?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be glum.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to not have a good time. I wouldn't want to not be happy, joyous, and free.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And when I joined Alcoholics Anonymous, little did I know that I was building my bucket list. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know what a bucket list was.
Yeah.
But here are some of the things that I've done since I've been a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I have been whitewater open canoeing. I don't know people that do whitewater open canoeing.
What part of the water was that?
It was in the Nantahala and the Broad and the Chattooga. I mean, open canoe, whoop.
Yeah.
Whitewater rafting, that's okay.
Yeah.
Deep sea fishing. Never went deep sea fishing before. I went deep sea fishing. I sort of like it. Okay.
Good. Wow.
Been 2 ocean cruises,
Nice.
27 foreign lands, just since I've been sober.
Wow.
Skiing trips. Skiing trips. I didn't know how to ski. Softball league and tournament AA teams that won the league and won tournaments.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you got some
sober.
trophies.
Did that sober. Okay.
Wow.
Been to the International Conference of Alcoholics Anonymous in country and out of country. Okay. That International Conference of Alcoholics Anonymous happens every 5 years. Okay.
Oh, wow. That's good.
And it's really something to see 70,000 people holding hands and saying the Lord's Prayer at the end of each meeting. All right. Really something.
Yeah, that's good.
Founders Day. Been to Founders Day I don't know how many times, and I've been on a motorcycle. As a matter of fact, Mike, never mind. Okay.
Okay. So you in somewhere in that list. Okay.
Founders Day on motorcycle. I mean, and one of those trips, it was 3,000 miles because it was Founders Day, and then it was across the over to the, and then down to where Bill Wilson lived, and it's just private airplane trips.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Been to the Grand Canyon?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you can't take pictures of the Grand Canyon. It doesn't do it justice.
Wow.
Yellowstone,
Oh, yeah.
trout fishing. Never knew how therapeutic trout fishing was. I just love trout fishing.
Nice.
Hunting trips.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore.
Oh,
Been around
yeah,
Rushmore.
that's good.
I mean, we did a flyby on Mount Rushmore. Thought I was going to die, but we did a flyby, you know.
Yeah.
Crazy Horse. Did Crazy Horse. Yosemite. Been in 5 state AA golf tournaments and won all 5 state AA golf tournaments.
Yeah, I was like, you got all that golf stuff on your shirt.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on?
I'm going, what?
Nice.
And it's not because I'm good. It's because God put me on the right team.
Yeah, oh, okay.
That's grace.
AA dances.
Oh, nice.
Man, I wouldn't dance. If I could still see the lines in the floor,
Right.
I wouldn't dance. It had to be a blur for me to dance.
Right.
Okay. AA conferences all over America. Benefit shows. Now, I used to be in a rock and roll band and did it for a living. We toured all over the United States, but I'm still in a rock and roll band. I'm 79 years old. I ain't supposed to be in a rock and roll band, but I'm in a rock and roll band, and we do things to help people. Like I said before, freely I have been given, freely I must give back, okay? And so we do a lot of benefits, such as Wounded Warriors, St. Jude Hospital, to build a animal shelter in Lincoln County, to neuroblastoma, children from abused homes.
Yeah.
And it just goes on and on and on, you know. And if I did the rock and rolling for a living, I'd starve to death. But we do it because here's the deal: we get to do it.
Yeah.
That's
We get
good.
to do it. Okay. All right. Beach trips, mountain trips, beach trips, mountain trips, desert trips. Never knew the desert was that beautiful.
Yeah.
I once won an AA womanless beauty pageant. Yeah. I was in drag. That's right.
Yeah.
And the rest of the guys were in drag, and I won it.
They didn't even know it was you.
No, well, the at the facility that we were in had these elaborate elevators, and it had an elevator operator.
Yeah.
And I got on this elevator, and I had that bathing suit on, and those high heel shoes, and those net stockings, and wig, and everything like that.
Oh, my.
And this elevator operator, he hit on me, and I turned around, and he saw my beard.
Oh. It was too late for him to back out.
It's too late to back out.
Yep.
I told him to
You
say,
got what you picked.
I'll catch you later, honey. Anyway, I won that contest. And skydiving. Skydiving. I don't know what possessed me to go skydiving,
Yeah.
but I have been skydiving, And I tell you, the first time that I went skydiving, got on this plane with this old raggedy instructor, and we went to 12,500 feet, and he asked me, he said, "How much time you got, Junior?" And I looked at him, and I went, "What?" He said, "How much time you got in sobriety?" I went, 2 years. And he said, "I got 30-something. He said, "We gonna be okay."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's good.
And the list just goes on
Wow. Amen.
and on
Amen.
and on.
Praise God.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Listen, we don't want to wear you out tonight.
Yes.
There's a whole lot you can still give us, but
Yep.
how about that you want a water?
A water?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
That
Yeah.
Amazing Grace might sound mighty good out of you. I don't know if you want to do it, but I don't know. It's up to you.
Amazing Grace.
Yes. Laura said, ask him to sing Amazing Grace.
Asked me to sing Amazing Grace.
What she says, yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Laura been trying to get on it. She's
Okay. I got to tell you something. I do not sing Amazing Grace the traditional way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably that's why she wanted people to get it.
I sing Amazing Grace. Let's see.
Your way.
Yeah, but sort of lyrics. Amazing Grace.
There you go.
I sing it
Google.
sort of bluesy.
Okay.
Sort of bluesy. Yes, I would like a water. Yes.
Let me hold on.
Yeah.
I got this.
You knew he was about to sing, didn't you? All right, Laura. You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Do you need me to pull up any music for the background?
No.
No,
Because
okay.
I don't do it to music. I do
Okay.
it. Thank you. Oh,
All
thank
right.
you. Yes. Ooh.
Well-
I didn't think we were supposed to bring this in.
Yeah, amen.
Jesus is king. It's all right.
All right. We're going to try this. Hadn't done Amazing Grace in quite a while,
We can't keep that here.
but I will certainly give it the old go. Okay.
Hold on. Hey, listen, guys. We're gonna end with this song. So George, thank you so much for sharing your life and for teaching us about this today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored that you asked me to come.
No,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
So good.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This is what I have received. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. First verse. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Yes, Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate
Man,
it.
thank you so much, George. Love you, man.
All these pieces broken and scattered, in mercy gathered, mended and whole. Empty-handed, but not Raising up the